We have Sumit Chander, advocate and practices in the Honorable Supreme Court of our country. Sumit, namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. So let me first understand from you, Sumit Chanderji, how would you see the second draft? A lot of corrections have been made. Some words which were used, mental illness, has been replaced with unsound mind. So those corrections changes have been made. Some textual errors, factual errors have also been changed. But this current draft that has now been tabled in Parliament, how would you see this? Is this a step forward or is this a step backward?
See, Anand, I'll go specific to the issues I think which still needs to be looked upon. I don't think there was any, first of all, requirement for creating an entire law. Our existing laws could have been amended. But for whatever reason, if a new law has come in, it has to now keep in mind certain aspects. Say, for example, Section 111, the 111, which earlier was 109 in the earlier bill of the same Bharatiya Sanhita. Now that talks about organized crimes, and the explanation in Section 111 uses the word economic offenses without a clear definition. Vague phrases such as financial scams, Ponzi schemes, mass marketing frauds, and there is no provision which defines or explicit definition of these terms. Now, if you look at the case of Shreya Singhal versus Union of India in the year 2015, where Supreme Court had held that Section 66A of the Information Technology Act was unconstitutional because it found the term grossly offensive, which was used in the IT Act, to be vague and devoid of precision. So now the new law cannot, again, after these judgments, also come up without defining vague and devoid of precision words. That needs to be looked into, and there are other aspects also. Say, for example, Section 377 of the old IPC, which of course everybody is aware with the Navtej Singh Johar judgment, was redefined by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court went into the removing the unconstitutionality qua the consensual sex. Now that was just an interpretation of the section where the Supreme Court says consensual sex, if it is not there, then it will be, if it is there, then it will be unconstitutional for 377 to exist. But 377 also came up with other terms such as bestiality. There are several instances of bestiality in the country. Times of India in 2022 reported a case where a 28-year-old man was held for bestiality in Surajpur. Then again in 23 January, one man was held in Kollam, Kerala. One in June 23 recently in Bulandshahr, UP, a 65-year-old man was caught for bestiality. Now the term bestiality was defined under Section 377. But now you remove the total entire Section 377 without applying the actual judgment of the case of Navtej Singh Johar. So these are the aspects that needs to be looked into in the new act.
Yeah, quite. Sumit Chanderji, what would you say?
The power to the police, Section 41 CRPC, was expounded upon by the Supreme Court in the Arnesh Kumar judgment, which is extensively followed. Now, Section 41 CRPC, now, despite being expounded upon, leaves it to the interpretation because there is no CRPC at all. So now it will be whether the provisions, which provisions of the which act is going to apply, which will be parallel to Section 41. Secondly, a lot of other acts rely upon the Indian Penal Code, for example. Say Section 54 Juvenile Justice Act says kidnapping and abduction of child. For the purposes of this act, the provisions of Section 359 or Section 369 of IPC will apply. But now the new bill's last section itself is 358. I think the entire confusion is now going to come up with respect to which provision is to be followed, whether the Supreme Court, which has actually expounded upon the various provisions of the IPC, CRPC in various cases, now what happens to those? And whether now the new act, what provision will the expounded provision, whether it has covered all the provisions given by the Supreme Court, has been covered under the new act or not, is to be seen.